Yo, what is up YouTube? In this one, I'm going to be telling you guys, and specifically beginners, how to build a deck and your first deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket, so let's get into the video. So let's say you guys have only been collecting cards and you guys have only been like doing your daily pack openings every single day and you don't know where to go to try and build your deck. So what you want to do is you're going to go to this icon right here and click on the decks. So we're going to click on this, my decks, and as you can see, I have about 13 ones that I cycle through. But for the sake of this video, we're going to make a new one. Tap here, and now you're going to see this screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick change, and let's say I'm going to try and focus my deck around Tinkaton. So I'm going to do this, put that in there. Hold on one second, going to lower the volume ever so slightly, and then move on to here. This one is kind of just your accessories. You can just put this one on, put this one on, and then put that one on. There we go. Doesn't really matter too much, and you can change this one if you want to. You can change it to metal, which is what we're gonna do. So now we're gonna go click the edit button right here. So we're gonna click the edit. We're gonna go here, and now we're gonna scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay, so first off, you can sort by type. So now it'll sort every single Pokemon that you have by the specific typing that they are. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to Steel because we're trying to make a Tinkaton deck. And now we're on Tinkaton. So we have two of these, right? And you want to grab two of every single evolution. So you're gonna grab two Tinkatinks, I think it's their name, and Tinkatuffs, and then two Tinkatons. There we go. So that's 6 of your cards available. Now with this specific deck, I'm actually considering, because what I use on my main Tinkaton deck is a double Aegislash. So I typically do this, and this, right? But that's 12 cards, so that's too much, right? So what we can do is we can kind of just like eliminate the middle evolutions for Tinkatuff, or Doublade, either one. Let's see, actually I'm gonna go check real quick to see what I have in my other deck. We'll save that real quick, why not? We'll save that and we'll go over to what my original Tinkaton deck is. So I have, okay, so I rare candied the Tinkaton stuff. So we're gonna go back here, go here. Now we're gonna take out these two Tinkatuffs, which is the second evolution form for Tinkaton. So we're gonna go scroll all the way down to the bottom, and while we're down here, just go ahead and add your 2 professors, add your 2 Pokeballs, and then scroll back up here. Now we're gonna try to look for a rare candy. There we go. Double tap these rare candies, we get that. Now we almost have a full deck here. And so what I specifically like to do is whatever Pokemon you are running, run a support card that will help like fleshing your deck out. So this one specifically, I'm going to want 2 Wills because this will allow me to guarantee myself Giga damage. So what this Pokemon does is if you flip a coin, you get an extra 80 damage, which is really, really strong. So what we're gonna do is every time you want to play this, and let's say Will is in your hand and you're going against their EX, you want to pop this, you do an extra 80 damage for free. And then if you have both Aegislashes up on your bench, you're doing an extra 60 damage with both of these on the field. And so let's pull out our trusty little calculator on this side here. How much damage are we talking? So we're doing 80 times 2 if you have your Will, and then plus 60 damage. That is a 220 damage attack, which is wild. And so what else can you do to add to this deck? I would 1000% recommend adding at least 1 Giant's Cape, and you could add a Sabrina, you could add a Cyrus in there as well. And what I'm going to do actually is going to bring out the Cyrus, and I think Cyrus is really good because let's say you nuke them and they're like, oh shoot, I don't want my Pokemon to die, so I'm going to swap that out, and like, you know, I'm going to swap that out so something else can take the hit. Pop your Cyrus, bring it out on the field, and you can one-shot it again. So that is essentially what like a deck kind of looks like. Not every deck is going to have like two stage 3s. 2 stage 2, sorry. This one it's a little harder to try and get everything set up. Most likely in an actual game, you're gonna get one Aegislash set up, and then the other one's just not gonna be there. So that's something you have to consider. But that is essentially how you build a deck in this game. There's so many other like ways and to build a deck per se. Like you don't actually have to have 2 Pokeballs in here. The staple I think for every single deck is to have 2 professors. Like 2 professors just allows you to cycle through a lot more often, and I think is just really, really solid. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna just delete this deck, and we're gonna kind of go through my current decks and see what I'm running on those ones. So we're gonna go over to my actual Tinkaton deck. So what am I running on this one? So if you go look here, I'm running 2 Wills, a PCM, 2 Profs, a Giant's Cape, 2 Rare Candies, 2 Pokeballs. And that kind of helps me get out my evolutions a lot faster. There isn't a lot of like heal cards or anything else in this specific deck, but this primarily just is to get through, so you can eventually get to the point where you have double Aegislash, and then you can just will your Tinkaton and just have it nuke. So yeah, that is that deck. We'll move on to the another one that I built, which is this Tapu Koko deck, and this one ramps up really, really fast. And so the basis for this deck is you have 2 Oricarios that help you stall to get your Tapu Koko up, and then you have a Zoroark, I think is her name, Zorora, sorry. And then you have this thing on the bench. It was at the end of the turn, you take your first turn, take energy, electric energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. So this one is really, really good for just having energy on the bench to pull over, and you'll see real quickly in a second. Next we'll have Tapu Koko here. So Tapu is essentially you take energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon, which is really, really cool. You just, do your 1-star energy, you ramp it up, and on the next turn you'll be able to Mach Bolt, which is really, really, really strong because it's so fast. It's so fast, and there's nothing much you can do. And we'll go through here. We'll have 2 X speeds, because X speed is just to swap out the Oricorio or whatever for free and allow you to get into your Tapu and start, hitting things. But the real reason why we wanted to have the Zorora on our team is because of Electrical Switch. And it essentially allows you to move any fire, water, or electrical energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So you could just have this as a thing for the bench and just have your Tapu just go in and click. The other thing that it's really, really good for is, let's say your Tapu's already ramped, you already have 3. Right? And then let's say you want to swap it out, or like, let's say hypothetically your Tapu's on the bench and then you have it ramped and you don't have an X speed, but you do have an electrical switch. So what you can do, place the energy on your Oricorio, electrical switch it, or like electrical switch it, swap out the Oricorio, or put the energy that you did electrical switch on, put on the Oricorio, swap out into Tapu, and place your energy on whatever character you want afterwards, and then you can kill it from there. So that is how this deck works in particular. You have this one too, Electrical Cord, which is basically if the electrical Pokemon in this card is attached to is in the active slot or is knocked out damage wise, an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move 2 energy from that Pokemon and attach it to the energy of your 2 benched Pokemon, which is good for ramping stuff. So let's say you're let's say you have an Oricorio or you have a Zorora in here and you attach just an electrical switch to that, unless your Tapu is on the bench and waiting or something. I don't know. Whatever scenario you want to use. This is like not specifically just for the Tapu Koko deck, but for like electrical decks in general. You can throw your Oricorio on there. Let's say they eventually knock it out with some eventual stuff. Then you just move 2 energy free to your bench. So that's essentially how that works. And like, it can be said for almost every single one of these decks. There's different ways to build it. I have this Glaceon deck that I'm going to make a video on. And it's basically a Hypercarry Glaceon deck where you have 2 Indeedis on the bench that just pump 40 healing per turn, which is kind of crazy. So you have this thing called Watch Over. So you can have it on the bench and it'll act just the same. It can activate both at the same time, which is kind of insane. So we're going to do, so basically you just, every time your Glaceon is hit, you pop 40 healing every single turn, which is crazy to me. You have your Eevee bags for healing. You have Giant's Cape or Rocky Helmet, whichever one. I like to do it whenever there is like a really, really hard hitter on the other team. I like to do Giant's Cape just so that I can like stall out a little bit longer. If it is not as tanky or is super tanky but doesn't hit as hard, I don't know what scenario that would be in. But Rocky Helmet is also really good. Rocky Helmet you can also slap onto your whatever Pokemon you have out first to try and chip more damage, because like this whole Glaceon deck is focused around this specific ability. During Pokemon checkup, if this Pokemon is in the active slot, do 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's essentially kind of like a poison deck, but with like, you know, snowy terrain. And the whole game plan of this is to just ramp up Glaceon and just pump healing into it. So that's why I have a Urida, I have what's it called? 2 EV bags and stuff like that, and double Indeedis. You just want to keep your Glaceon alive. And then there's just multiple different ways to build different decks. And I'll probably go over them in my showcases that I'll do in the future, but I wanted to get this out there to try and get some guides on my channel to try and show people how to build different decks. That's the basis of it. There's obviously no one way to build a deck. But these are kind of like the basics of that I think was really useful to me when a friend taught me how to play this game, and I think it will be useful to anyone else that's new to Pokemon or just like new to battling and trying to make decks to fight with. I think that is a really good starting point for you guys, and hopefully this helps you out. So let's get into my final thoughts. Now, building in this game is part of the fun. I like when you pull cards, you're like, oh wow, this is really cool. I really want to build this deck. And then to me, it's just the most fun thing to just be like, okay, I'm trying to cook up what Pokemon and stuff could work together, and then you slap it together. You try to test that out in a fight, and it just works out, and it's like super satisfying. So I'm really enjoying this game, and I hope you guys are too, especially for you new players out there. Again, it is a little unfortunate that like when you first start off, and I was there, like if you look here, I'm not exactly that high a level. I started maybe 3 weeks to a month ago, and just started building up the account over time. But like the biggest bottleneck 1000% is your supporting and item cards. You won't be able to have everything. I think my first deck had like 7 to 8 different Pokemon in it because like I didn't have supporting cards to fill out the roster. I just literally had professors, Pokeballs, and like maybe a Selena. That was it. Serena, sorry. But that's it, you know. So don't worry if your deck isn't perfect. You'll be able to build it up over time. Again, if you are still new, I 1000% recommend pulling on the deluxe pack right now, because this one has so many different supporting cards. I already went over in my other video, but I'm going to do it again just in case you haven't seen it. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here, and as you can see, there are so many really good item cards. You have EV bags here, electrical switches, rare candies, Pokemon communication, electric cord, Giant's Cape, Leaf Cape, Rocky Helmet, and then all these other supporting cards that are really good. And yeah, I just recommend pulling on this pack if you guys have the funds or you guys have it saved up. That is by far, in my opinion, one of the best packs to pull on, especially if you're new, to try and just build out your roster. It'll help you build out your EXs, it'll help build your supporting card roster, your item cards and stuff like that. So 1000% recommend. So hopefully this guide helps someone out there. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.